Hey! Welcome back, everybody. Today we're talking about the Rust Console Edition next generation version. How soon, how quickly is this going to come to us on the console version? And we are talking about everybody because this does even affect the core systems, the PS4s, the Xbox Ones and such. But it also clearly affects the next generation. Obviously, when we say next generation, we mean the PS5 and the Xbox Series. I know it's a little outdated now to say next gen because it's been out for like 5 years, but you get what we're saying. Anyway, so we have the official announcement now that we do know we are getting that next generation version. That's not crazy news to anybody. The old versions will get slowly sunsetted. I like to say frozen in time. They'll still have support. You can still play it. Everything converts over, your skins and everything else. But they'll just support the game. They're not going to be adding content. And then when the next gen version launches, all of the new content will go there. So that's what we're talking about. That's why we're so excited. But there's essentially been no content for the last half a year. It's been 6 months, so we're kind of foaming at the mouth. We're like, okay, since you guys aren't adding anything new here, where's the new stuff? When's this going to happen? Because we're missing some major features, cars, helicopters, you name it, attack helicopters, like tons of things. Anyways, so we kind of broke down some of the different things that they have shown us to kind of get an estimation of when we think this is going to drop, how soon is this, what can we expect when this does drop. Okay, so to kind of rewind a little bit, there was the initial trailer that dropped, which is a good point of reference here. You can see the water line, and you can see the transparency and some foam around the rib here, which is nice. But when you look at the, what is this, the comparison of the tugboat that they released, you can see that this water version looks so much better, right? And again, they said this is a work in progress. I get this. This kind of shows you because in the last 6 months, I think that's when they shifted gears. That's when Facepunch said, hey, we're going to go to next generation version, because I really do think they were trying to squeeze in at least cars, possibly minis on the old generation, because I always bring up that old, the survey, but let's be honest, that was a menu of things that they're like, hey, what do you guys want? We can at least achieve these. Maybe it wouldn't have been great on the old systems, but it's not like you go to a restaurant and they go, well, here's a menu, and then you're like, I would like the cheeseburger, and then they go, oh yeah, well, just kidding, we can't make a cheeseburger. You're like, well, why put it on the menu? So I think at some point it was a thing. I think it was hard to achieve. But since Facepunch made the call, I think things like cars, minis, all air vehicles kind of just get swept under like, okay, it's going to be next generation because it's just easier for us to handle. Because everything's going to be frozen in time with the old systems, this would be kind of putting them behind the 8 ball, having something that's so unstable in the old generation version, so they kind of swept it in there. And let's be fair, this is most likely going to be what's in that next generation version. Part of this and some other things, right? Like, it could be just cars, just helicopters, or both of them. Well, let's just say all air vehicles, right? Because it's pretty much going to be. Because I think there's already been progress for a lot of these. We've already seen this. The junkyard was basically in our custom servers. We saw that. We do know they were testing this for quite some time. And then when they had the new generation, or the new terrain generation come in, we got a lot more performance. So then these were back on the table. But anyways, because there's most work done on these, we're going to possibly see this on that next generation version, like 80% sure. But here's the thing. Because of that, I think this next generation version, they haven't said it's going to cost money. Essentially, they've said in April they're going to talk about what it's going to cost. Or what do they say? The ways to best thank old console players. Here's what we think. And again, we're 80% certain on this. It's probably going to be, it's going to cost X amount of dollars for full price, and then people that own the old game, it's probably going to be at a discount. And that's kind of a good thing, and here's why. Because you're not going to pay money for like, hey, this flower looks better and this grass is tight. You're like, yeah, I'll just play the old version until we get new stuff. No, because of that, because they have to push this out so quickly this year, because let's be honest, GTA is going to crowd everybody's game at the end of the year. This needs to happen in September latest, right? September, August, but even August is kind of pushing it. And because of that, you know, they need to have some content out there in a bundle for this next generation version, this air quote bundle. So we would want to spend the money. Let's say it's $20. Because of that, we need to see a lot of features in here, and these features make the most sense. These have the most work done on it, because I know it's not just them adding new features and stuff. Like, they have to really do a lot of upgrading to this next generation version. And because of that, I think we're going to see a lot of these things in there. So, okay, with that rough timeline, here's why we're kind of like etching this out. Okay, so even at the beginning of the trailer, which is like 2-ish weeks ago, and even to this release here where you see the ripples in the water, already a lot of progress, right? Which is good to see. And again, they've had half a year to work on this, because this is roughly when this all occurred. But then if you look at the water out here, let me see if I can get all this ready here for you. If you kind of look at the water here, I kind of recreated it the best I could. You can kind of see where we're going to head by looking at this. So you can see this version here on the split, that's the old generation version, just painted blue, no atmosphere whatsoever. You look at where they're at now, currently, the water looks tremendously better. Then you look at the PC version where we're going to head, and you're like, okay, so we got a little bit more to go. That's why a lot of people are looking at the new gen version and saying, oh, it looks muddy, it has a filter. It can also be the time of day, but it's also the progress they're having. And the reason why we're saying that is it kind of gives us an idea of like, okay, I think September is the most realistic. Like this kind of paints a timeline of like where they're at, how fast they're going. And roughly it looks like it's going to be September-ish. It could be sooner. I'm just setting my expectation in September-ish, right? But the beauty is, because they're going to bundle all of this up with features and whatnot, we're most likely going to see a beta. RazorTube's with me here. What do you think about the beta, Mr. RazorTube? Your thoughts on that real quick. Oh, right? He's not in here. That's fine. So here's the deal. With the beta, even if they don't need it and we think they do, the thing with the beta is it's going to hold our attention, because if this thing has to simmer for a little bit before it's out, let's say September-ish, that's a long time for us to wait. We've already waited half a year for all of this stuff. So it makes sense like to have that as a thing. So here's what we're kind of looking at here for like a timeline. This is the whole reason for the video. Like, how long do we have to wait? What do we have to expect here? They are going to announce something in April. They're basically announcing the quote-unquote price of the game. It's probably going to be the standard price of the game, right? Then it's going to be the discounted version for people that own the game currently on the console, the core systems, right? And they're most likely going to announce a beta. It would make the most sense. That's what they've done in the past. Marketing-wise, it makes the most sense to keep our attention because we've been waiting so long. So we'll most likely hear the price, kind of what's in it, and then we'll also see probably an announcement for the beta. The beta will most likely launch when you purchase it. It'll probably happen in May. That's our estimation. Again, we're about 80% sure on that. And because of that, I think that's what April's going to be. It's basically going to announce what's going to be in the game. Some monuments, some features, but definitely these guys or one or the other. And we're going to see a beta announcement, and then roughly the price point for us, and then when that beta is going to run. I hope that they run the beta for a long period of time because, again, we have a pretty long bridge to cover before we actually hit the next generation stuff, because everything's frozen in time. We essentially have had no new content. But with that in mind, I have no illusions. That donut map that just got released is a testing ground for the new stuff. And it's kind of in this weird transition because it's like old gen and new gen. We're currently sitting on like the old version of Rust, so it's kind of like in this weird state. Oh, by the way, let me kind of show you this too. To kind of show you some more of like how far this is going to go. So you look at the trailer here. This is kind of like the twilight hour, the golden hour-ish. And then you look at our golden hour here. And one of the major things I was pointing out, and I've said this in my stream and stuff, is like if you look at the old version, everything's just painted blue. There's no atmosphere. It's clear as day. But if you look back here by the trees, upper left-hand corner of the screen, you can kind of see how it's hazy. But it's hazy with the color of the sky, the water, and the biome. And then you look at things like in the foreground here, things are a little more purpley, a deeper like color, right? Because of the time of day. And you don't see a lot of that switch here, but we're getting there. So like the water is like slowly making that transition. So I kind of want to show you where the water's going to head. So you can kind of see some of this glint here off the water. And this is why we're showing you like some of these differences, because there's a lot of technical pieces on this. And I just kind of want to show you the comparison and be like, hey, here's where we were at. Here's where they're at currently. And here's where we're heading, to hopefully show you like why and like the timeline essentially. So if you look at the water here, everything's very flat. This is like, if you look at the water here, this is more or less like a height map. That's an animation that sits there. So it looks like water, but if you get really low, it's just a flat plane. But if even here, with none of the water being affected by weather, you can see it's actually moving. Yes, there's an animation on the surface, but there's distortion in the water, and there's also like those like small ripples. I want to say that's tessellation, but I could be wrong. I may be thinking of another term. But you can kind of see it looks more realistic. And then if we go to the shoreline, you see like the waves slowly coming in, conforming to the shoreline. Just little stuff like that. So they have these little pieces they've added. You can see the foam here, and that's cute. But definitely that tide, the waves that come in, isn't there. It's still a flat plane with an animation height map on top, which is fine. That's the way the old systems had to have it. But like you can see where it's heading. Like look, if I get my face in the water, look. It's just like if you've ever been in the ocean and had your eyes open, this is exactly what it looks like. Ooh, the plane is being deformed in real time according to, you know, water. And then once we do get weather at some point, and they're not saying we're getting weather yet, but we will at some point because I think the systems can handle it. But watch this. Like, look, the water gets super chop. You can also see the atmosphere changes pretty drastically. You can start to see snow coming down. There it goes. But if you notice, by the shoreline here, the water, a lot calmer. But if you go out to the ocean, the deeper water, starts to get crazy out here. And watch, I'll put my face in the water, and you can see it's deforming in real time. Kind of creepy if you're afraid of deep water, I'll be honest. But you can see where we're heading. So, like, yes, we're on course. And even if we do get just a fragment of what this is on launch day, we do know they're on a monthly development cycle. So we're going to get all these things no matter what. It's just a matter of time. The real question is, when are we going to get this, and how many features are going to be in it? Is it going to be enough for it to spend the $20, the $30 for the upgrade, whatever it's going to be? Now, I'm setting my expectation there. They haven't officially set it. But let's be honest. If you set your expectation there and then they give it to us for free, then it's just a win. But currently, I'm like, yeah, they're probably going to charge something for this because they have to. The team's like big, but it's not that big. You know what I mean? So because of all that, I think this is kind of where it's heading. And the water is definitely a good indication because you can kind of see here, like this looks so much better than the preview. What is this? Whatever this is, the trailer, don't you think? But you can start to see how we're still missing some layers here in the atmosphere. So yeah, very exciting to see all this. The donut map is definitely a testing ground for a lot of these things. The new generation, procedural generation system. We also know that there's big hints that there's train systems, so we may not get that on launch, but it looks like they're definitely working on it because we have holes in the map, places for terminals. The ring road system is definitely being worked on, which is also not a huge surprise because we saw that stuff in the junkyard and stuff earlier. What was it, last year around this time? Well, last year in November. Wait, no, 2 years ago, November, right? Yeah. No, a year and a half ago, November. Anyways, I digress. So yeah, we're going to get all these things. It's very exciting to see it. We're just hoping that things run smooth and there's enough features for us to spend the money. And we're looking at a timetable of roughly September for full release. Most likely April announcement for price and a beta time release. And then probably in May is when we're going to see that beta because it does line up with the 4th anniversary, the 4th year of this running, Rust Console Edition. And again, if you're like on the old systems, you're like, hey, we're going to get left behind. Not really. You guys are still going to get wipes, cycles, bug fixes and stuff. So you guys are just slowly getting sunsetted. And let's not forget, all of your coins and all of your skins all transition over to the next generation version, and they'll also look better. So keep that in mind too. So you're not really losing any progress. And if you can't afford the new stuff yet, that's fine. Just keep playing on the old generation stuff until it's worthwhile. Honestly, if they don't give us enough features in this next generation version, I'll probably hold off on it until there's enough, right? Because it'll take a few months, but then there'll be like new stuff in the game. So that's what we're looking at so far. That's our rough timeline and what to expect here for the Rust Console Edition next generation version. And fingers crossed that we get this a lot sooner than what we said. And at least we have the beta running for longer than what we said because we need some new stuff and fast. So hopefully we'll see you in the next video / live stream. Love you. Bye. Oof, oof, oof.